This is Ryan Payton for the Kojima Productions Report, the special edition with Cory Barlog from Sony, Santa Monica Studios?
Yeah, SCEA Santa Monica, but if you say it fully, it's Sony Computer Entertainment America Santa Monica Studios. It's a freaking mouthful.
Is that enough to fit on your business card along with all the titles you have to...
Right, it's like 12 different titles. Gigantic.
Well,
Sweet.
I tried in the previous take to explain exactly all the titles that you have, or you've done previous titles. How about you do it yourself so I don't screw it up?
Fantastic. I'm Cory Barlog, the game director for God of War 2, and also the creative director for God of War PSP. I'm kind of like the creative director for the God of War franchise.
Okay.
So anything we do in God of War, I'm sort of overseeing.
Right on. So what does that entail when you're creative director and then when you're game designer on God of War 2? What kind of stuff does that entail as far as like your day-to-day work?
A lot of yelling and shirking of responsibility, mostly.
Yeah.
No, it's for the PSP game, the day-to-day is not as daily because we have an external studio that we're working with, Ready at Dawn. So a lot of it is keeping current on the builds, talking to them about specific puzzles and areas and pacing, enemy designs, story, everything throughout the game. Same thing I'm doing with God of War 2 or any of the other games I'm working on with them, but much more of a distant kind of thing, kind of letting them do what they need to do, but also kind of steering it into the God of War universe.
So you've been kind of pushed into the limelight ever since God of War 2 was doing their initial PR. I mean, is there a reason for that? Were you saying, like, yeah, I want to be the one that, like, the face of our studio, or was that somebody at Sony's? Was that somebody at Sony's idea, or?
It was definitely not me going, yes, I totally want to do this. I absolutely fell into this thing. I was the animation director on God of War 1, and Dave wanted to kind of be done with God of War after the first one, so he was looking for somebody to be in charge. To direct the next game, and they were looking externally. They were looking at all these other people who had done big games and are somewhat renowned, you know. And either all those people turned them down, or he legitimately really wanted me to do it. I'm thinking it was the previous one. It's not necessarily them. They say it was the first choice, but honestly, I think it kept coming back to me. They said, oh, he's really good, but. Obviously, I hadn't done anything like that before, but I had
maybe not the name value at the time, right?
Right. Yeah, it wasn't a very big name at all. But
I would love to get that list of people that you're looking for to take over the series. You probably will never give that to me, especially over there, right?
I don't think they actually told me the specifics
really?
of anybody. I think that probably would have made me even more depressed. And all the people that were like, dude, no, give it to Cory. I'm like Mikey from the Life Cereals commercial, basically.
Well, it worked out great, and now every blog and every game site kind of waits to hear what you have to say about the PS3 or about gaming in general.
Wait to see if I announce the Rumble feature or anything like that.
Exactly. What's the deal with Rumble exactly? Because all of a sudden now I'm a spokesperson for the new Rumble because I think at one point I said yes to a question that was asked about it, that is Rumble better than it was on PS2? And I said, well, yeah. And as far as what that entails, like I didn't really get into details, but now I'm obviously the spokesperson for why for the DualShock 3 and how wonderful it is. Well, it's great that it's back. I'm happy. And
oh yeah, that's freaking amazing. I was so happy to hear that it was back because it's such a small thing, and it may not be some sort of user input, like an active input, but it to me is an important thing. We use it like crazy in our game.
Yeah, you do. This is true, and as does Metal Gear, and so we're very happy. But as for people, obviously most people in the States or in Europe have not had any hands-on time, quote unquote, with the DualShock 3, and so if you're expecting something life-changing and orgasmic about the new controller that wasn't there with the previous, you want to get your expectations in check, but it's still very cool. It's good that it's back. So
well, I mean, it does actually provide a shock this time, though. So we actually can put 150 volts actually into their palm, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool, and that whole NDA and not NDA, but that waiver you have to sign every time that you play, that kind of gets in the way.
That is a little bit troublesome, but I like to use it just in the pause menu.
Right.
People are just sitting there waiting for it, and all of a sudden they just zap them. Maybe they're waiting, taking a phone call while they're playing. Right. It's awesome.
But it's going. That kind of leads into God of War, which for me has always been a very difficult game series. Is that something that you're about pushing the difficulty, making sure that it's not something you can run through by only getting killed 3 times and
I actually have never thought of it as being that difficult.
Really?
Mostly because I don't push myself to play on Titan or God mode or anything like that. I mean, our normal mode has always been, hey, let's make it so that the average player can get through. Like, we're sort of appealing to the casual hardcore market. So it is surprising. Like, well, recently we're coming out of Japan in a couple of days, and a lot of people have been talking to us about the process of getting it to final. So a lot of the testers out there and stuff like that. But sort of the differences in people's desire for difficulties between Japan and the U.S. to me has always been, I thought, flip-flopped. I always thought Japan liked harder games.
Yeah, that's what I thought a while ago. And
and it's like, it's really, in reality, we like harder games. And there's a lot of hardcore players out there who really want, like, the freaking Ninja Gaidens, the ones that just, like, seriously, I got up to the guy with the nunchucks and could not figure out the damn wall run attack. And I was like, oh, this is really awesome. I got my ass kicked for, like, an hour, so... But yeah, I've never really made the game to be that difficult. It occasionally slips through, and we think it's not that bad, and our playtesters don't think it's that bad, so something will slip through and it'll be like, wow, that was really hard. So
it's always been my outside perspective that the God of War series is difficult. Not as difficult as Ninja Gaiden, but it's still difficult. I played through the first God of War on God mode. I think it was the hard difficulty, not very hard. I think it was. And which was it was a significant challenge, but it was still fun playing through it that way, and that's something that I prefer. So, in other words, what you're saying is like the normal mode is like the standard mode, is like how you guys design the game and how you intend the difficulty to be, right? For a normal person.
We designed it on that difficulty mode, tune everything to that, and then adjust everything for the harder difficulties.
I'm looking forward to hopefully having a mode that we had in the previous Metal Gear Solid 3 titles. We called it European Extreme, and this mode is the most insane difficulty that you could ever achieve. I mean, if you get caught, you don't run and hide and wait for the alarms to go off. I mean, if you get caught, it's over. That's game over, and it just goes the screen goes to white, and it's the most hardcore mode of any game.
Yeah, I don't think I could roll with that. Like, I would appreciate watching someone else play and hearing about how hard it was, but I personally just want to get through and
You're not
see
into
what's
that
going
kind of
on.
masochistic.
No, I've never really
experience.
understood that. Like and I get that there are a lot of people out there who dig that, so it's awesome for them. But for me, it's like after dying about 10 or 15 times, there's nothing I get out of it. There's no fulfillment I get from mastering it.
Right.
It's like there's a few games maybe that I wanted, but it returns too much to this idea that, hey, you died 3 times and the game starts over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
to me, that wasn't the golden age of gaming.
No, I agree. I agree. And but also sometimes I wonder if we're kind of jaded about games and how quickly we run through them and move on to next. Because if you're anything like me, I'm trying to play a different game every week and try to get different experiences. And people I know in the press and the hardcore gamers I talk to, we're all in the same boat. We play as many games as possible because it's our hobby. Anybody who listens to this podcast are probably in the same boat.
Yeah.
But the casual guy, the people that represent probably 75% of our market, this like a game like God of War, Metal Gear might be the only game that they own for 3 months, and so they do end up mastering it. So that's something that we also keep in mind is that. Yeah, look, people are actually really going to play through your game 3 or 4 times, before they move on to the next. So we try to give them any rewards. Is there going to be anything like that in the PSP title, or do you guys think about that? Like, is there any kind of benefits for going through it a second time? Or
yeah, there's sort of this similar systems of rewarding the player for multiple playthroughs. Also trying to integrate things that are going to be a little bit more PSP specific. Things that are going to really maximize the hardware and the sort of pick up and play feel of the game, which is pretty cool.
Can you touch on some of those? Because we have our next PSP title. It's called Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops Plus.
Portable Ops is really cool too.
It's a good game.
I love that recruitment thing.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of it. And we're going like one step forward with the kind of a spin-off title of that, which is coming out in November in the U.S. But before we get into that, you want to talk about how you guys are using the PSP. For Chains of Olympus.
I would love to get in some of the specifics.
Oh, it's not announced yet?
We're waiting to announce some of that stuff, I think, in December.
Okay.
They have a very specific plan on how they want to do it, because I'd love to just sit there and chat about that.
Oh, look at me. I was trying to get the scoop, but I didn't even know it.
And I could have let it slip, but then I get fired.
Yeah, well, we don't want you to get fired. We want you to continue working on the game. And I think that was just the gong sounding
I just got freaking gonged.
And basically that's the indication, Ryan, move on from trying to extract information about Chains of Olympus, which I'm actually very excited about, and not only as a gamer, but for the PSP as a whole, because we're seeing kind of resurgence in popularity in the system. especially in Japan. You know, we're seeing it sell 200,000 units a week, which is really encouraging for it.
Yeah, especially with the redesign.
Yes.
I'm super, super into the fact that it's lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually want to carry it around a lot more. Like, the old one, I dug it, but I didn't find myself carrying it around as much.
Right.
Now it's lighter, it's a little smaller. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't use the video out thing that much. I think that's probably really good for the press
Yeah.
to be able to do all the stuff they need to do with it. But for me, it's...
Isn't that like an extra cable you have to buy too? I'm not sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
I didn't get... Yeah, I mean, actually, it may have came with it, but honestly, I didn't even pay attention because it was just like, oh, look, I have this thing that I actually want to carry around now. If only I could get the analog stick to be reversed with a D-pad.
Right. Or even a little bit higher, like a couple centimeters would be good to go, right?
I've tried to mod it myself. I was like, maybe I can get in there and move it around because my hand gets so cramped playing for a while. So it sort of it's actually good because it kind of restricts me from playing like 8 hours in a row.
Yeah, that's a really good way of kind of making lemonade
right.
out of that no. The one kind of funny occurrence that we encountered a few weeks back at E for All was that I was complaining because I was looking at all the units that we had for Metal Gear Portable Ops Plus. And I noticed that there was no nubs on any of the PSPs. I was like, guys, come on! We don't support the D-pad, for controls. We got to get the nubs back on these systems. They must have got stolen. And they say and the guys at Konami were saying that the moment that they put the nubs on, they're gone within minutes because people are stealing them because obviously they've lost their own. And my brother's in the same boat. I mean, he played my new PSP yesterday. And he was saying, "Oh, you guys, you have a nub." He's been playing his PSP for months without one, because those tend to fall off at times and stuff.
That's wild. I've never actually experienced that.
So I was saying we should just buy a whole case of those things and just keep putting them on there, and that would be an incentive for people to actually come and play the game at the convention. But
so they can steal the nub.
So they can steal it and they can get a chance to play it.
Right.
So it's a little bit of incentive there. But
nice.
I think for whatever reason it didn't work out that way. But I'm rolling around in Japan with the new PSP. I've got myself a baby blue one, but I'm going really ghetto style because it doesn't come with a case now. It just comes with this just like a plastic baggie that it comes in with from the factory, and that's what I've been using because I don't have a case for the PSP 2000. I don't know if you have one or not.
I actually just use the little cover for the screen. I get one of those little screen protectors and then just throw it in my bag.
All right.
Which is good because then it's just it's really easy, a lot less hassle. I just leave one game in it at a time, and it's a lot less to carry around, which is cool.
Are you playing anything on there that you want to talk about? Because that's something I like to do on the show too, is talk about other games that that we're into.
On PSP, Tomb Raider Anniversary. I got the PS2 version of it and started playing it, but on my big screen it didn't really look that good.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because I had been playing the Ninja Gaiden demo, the PS3 demo.
Right.
So then I load that up and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
But then I went back and I've been playing it on PSP, which is fun. I love that game. It's got some great environmental puzzles and sort of a return to the classic Lara Croft. What else am I playing on there? I actually played a little bit of Warlords. Is the puzzle game?
It's not Puzzle Quest, right?
Puzzle Quest, yeah.
Okay.
It's the Puzzle Quest : Warlords of whatever.
Right. I don't even know.
It's a crazy game, man.
Do you like it?
I actually didn't think I was gonna like it. Someone was like, "Oh, it's really fun. You got to try it out." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." And then I played it, and I ended up playing for hours.
Yeah.
So that and Luminous, I can play Luminous forever.
Yeah, Puzzle Quest, it's kind of a sleeper hit of the year.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how well it's sold, but there's a game that it's something you can really get into. It takes a long time to go through it, and it's engaging. You lose hours and hours on it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to restrict myself from playing at home because I feel like I'm wasting time basically playing Bejeweled
Right.
At home, which is a colossal waste of time.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to see what those guys do, forthcoming. Maybe they'll ditch the anime style, the American anime style. I don't know. I'm not too much of a fan. But I think that they're on the right track.
Yeah. I think so. I think
special.
it's wild. They haven't played anything that has gone into that level of detail and something like that, and taken a formula that's everyone's fairly familiar with and sort of turn it on its head. I think it's great.
And doing that on all these different platforms is incredible. Like it's on PSN, it's on Xbox Live, and DS.
Yeah.
I mean and PC I think as well. I mean I don't know how many people have on that team, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I haven't been playing anything. I've just been buying things because I'm here in town to do E for All and then a whole week of work on our opening movie for MGS4. So I dropped by one of the game shops and I picked up a couple of games. I picked up Metroid Prime 3. I picked up
Sweet.
Company of Heroes Opposing Fronts, and I picked up the Orange Box. And I think all three really good games. And I walked out of the store thinking, you know what? I am one of a very very small group of people that can actually play all three games at home. And because this is I realize that yet again I'm a hardcore gamer, and I realized just how unfortunate this is that if I wanted to show these games off to go to my friend's house, like it was like as if I bought 3 DVDs, you couldn't do that. You couldn't load up onto the systems.
Right.
Chances are they're not going to have a PC that's going to be able to play COH, or they're not going to have a Wii, or they're not going to have a 360. And I realized that how unfortunate that the industry's been for like the past couple decades, and I'm hoping that this is going to change. I mean, are you one of those one console man? I mean, I know it's a hard question to ask somebody who works at Sony, but
Right. Me and Dyak, man, we're on the same page.
This is one of the few times I can actually agree with Dyak.
Yeah, I you know what? I can dig the whole concept of moving towards a single console, especially when you kind of look at this format war with high def movies. It's just like, all right, cool. So people are starting to make the consolidated players that play both HD, DVD, and Blu-ray. But I personally, like I have the same situation you. I own almost every game system. It's like I've sort of phased out some of my older game systems, but as far as current generation, like I can play pretty much anything, which is both good and bad because, like you're saying, like I buy a stack of games and I'm barely whittling my way through it. It's like I haven't gotten back to the darkness, or finished BioShock, or
my pile of shame is probably worse than yours. It's really bad.
It's probably all right. I'll let you win on that because I actually haven't picked up Orange Box because I've sort of played everything that's in there except for Portal, and I'm not really that jazzed about Team Fortress. I want to play Portal, but I really want to play Episode 2. But I figure I'll just probably download that from Steam or something like that because it's just easier. But it's amazing, man. That thing is getting retarded reviews. It's like the freaking gigantic game.
Yeah, I mean, when you sell it at that price with that much content,
Yeah, it's like the DMC thing. 1, 2, and 3, the triple pack for like $29, man.
Right.
I think I had a copy of 3. And then I was in the store and I was like, oh, yeah, I want to pick up a copy of 1. And it was actually cheaper to buy all 3 of them in the super pack. So I was like, screw it, man.
So are you a DMC fan?
Yeah, of course. I play probably almost every game I can get my hands on. But as far as action-adventure games, like I play every single one that's out there, regardless of whether or not it's getting great reviews or not. It's like there's always good stuff. People are always trying stuff. So.
And it's cool with that genre that you guys are in with God of War. There's room for innovation and having totally different experiences. I mean, there's Ninja Gaiden, there's Devil May Cry, there's Heavenly Sword that's kind of thrown in the mix now, along with God of War, and they're all original experiences, which is pretty cool. I'm happy to see that the genre has room, to do creative things. And what's also interesting is that they kind of transcend territories and transcend cultures, because obviously Heavenly Sword comes from Europe, and Ninja Gaiden and DMC come from Japan, and God of War comes from America.
Right.
I think that says a lot for the genre.
It's interesting how we're all doing another territory's culture, though. It's like from Europe they're doing more of a Japanese culture. From America we're doing more of the Greek European culture, and from Japan they're doing more of the cocky sort of American Dante.
Goth, yeah.
Hey, how's it going? He's like the fucking Fonz, but goth.
Yeah. And looking good doing it.
Yeah, so it's like it's very bizarre that we all kind of, and I think it's great that we're all sort of stepping out of our own comfort zones, and therefore kind of, I think, appealing to different markets. Although perhaps it's a big stretch for me to say that we're appealing to the European market, because we're probably destroying their mythology by creating new things to fit into our story. So
that's all good. They love it, really deep down inside. But
except for the goat that we killed in
Greece. What's that? Was that in Greece?
Yeah.
No, I heard that was just taken from a butcher.
Yeah, it was totally taken from a butcher. But it's
a dead carcass,
freaking
right?
Internet, man. Like everybody just sort of made up they saw the photo,
right,
and therefore they created the photo, the story with the photo. Like it was really completely benign,
right?
But it was very rife with like, wow, we can create a story out of this. So in other words, legs for a while.
So in other words, you guys don't encourage killing goats at parties. No, probably not.
I mean, I do, but obviously I can't speak for Sony. So
right.
No, I definitely. It was not something that was. It was.
God of War 2 is not a goat killing game.
Right. humans okay, goats, come on.
Exactly.
PETA.
God of War 2, I think, is coming out very soon. I think it's coming out in October. And I'm really curious to see how it performs because Capcom, who publishes it in Japan, they do an excellent job like doing the promotion on this title, doing the localization. They really push hard to get, and it's also a Japanese publisher. It's not like Microsoft doing it, or obviously Microsoft wouldn't do it, but like it's not like EA or doing
Right.
it's not Activision or THQ doing this in Japan. It's actually a Japanese publisher that picks it up, which makes it even more confusing how Japanese still can tell that it's an American game and that they're automatically turned off by it. And
Right.
despite the fact that it's got great gameplay, it's a really fun game, but it's got that stigma that people can they got that sixth sense. It's
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm actually very surprised, and I think I posted something on my blog the other day about how we got good scores in Famitsu.
Right.
Like we got like a 92.5, which, you know, I don't have high hopes that we're gonna perform well at all, whether it be in the U.S. or anywhere else. So it's sort of a self-deprecating thing I have going with me. But to hear that, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, because I've always thought Famitsu, for an American game to get a good score, is fairly hard.
It is.
You know? And then somebody posts anonymously on my blog, is like, whatever, Famitsu's for sale. Anybody, you just pay for a review and you get a good review in there. And I was just like, way to crush my dreams here, pal. I mean, I hope it does well over there. I was at the VGL thing, sitting next to Igarashi, who the Castlevania guy.
Right.
Which was awesome, because I was like, yeah, that's going to be fun. It'll be cool to kind of go and check out some of the music. And I got locked out the second half because my girlfriend was inside with the tickets.
Oh,
and
man.
The security was super tight there. Like, they took their job wicked seriously that day.
Yeah, they did. They checked my ticket 3 times before they let me sit down.
I stayed in the bar too long. That was the problem. I shouldn't have stayed in the bar as long as they did. So I couldn't get back in for the second half. And I was like, all right, whatever. So we did that meet and greet thing afterwards, and Igarashi was there like as a surprise guest, and I ended up getting to sit next to him, which is pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
So
did you have a chance to talk to him a little bit, or?
A little bit, yeah. The first thing he said was, he wanted to apologize that he hadn't sent me anything, because I sent him a copy of 2 when I finished it, and I was just like, hey man, everyone here on the team is wicked inspired by your games. Symphony of the Night was a slight inspiration. I mean, a pretty strong inspiration for the way that I started the game, about the idea of losing everything.
Right.
Actually getting to play with it and then lose it all and then get it at the end. And I wanted to see how far I could push it.
Right.
It was like about 30 minutes in and then you lose it, whereas in Symphony of the Night you kind of lose it on the second panel.
Right.
It's like, hey, death takes it away, and you're like, okay,
Boom.
I didn't become too attached to it. And people were all kind of reminding me of that, like, hey, this is a really long time. They're going to get really pissed. And
right. Well, you pushed it there. I mean, it didn't become too much of a controversy, so I think
yeah,
you're
so
probably right up to that edge.
Right, because the end was way more of a controversy with a cliffhanger. Everybody
Right.
get pissed at me about that one, which everybody also warned me that it would be something that people would.
Well, don't look at the comment section on any blogs. I mean, that's
Right.
my new golden rule, is because you end up wanting to basically take yourself out after a couple of pages of negative comments, because that's what the people on the internet like to do. I mean, it's anonymous, and they like to bring you down if you're doing anything really remarkable. So
yeah. Oh, I get that a lot.
And it's something that I wish I could tell your former colleague, David Jaffe, like, don't worry so much about these people.
Right.
When they say these idiotic things, they're idiots. That's why,
Right.
and be lucky that you're smart. So
He likes to stir it up. That's Dave.
Yeah.
That's his thing. He's definitely a stir it up kind of guy. He's like the Ty Cobb of the
Are
game
you?
industry.
I don't want to talk about. That's the one unfortunate thing I think is whenever you come on and you talk to the press or you talk to people on any kind of show that it automatically goes back to David Jaffe.
Oh, yeah.
But you're your own man. And you're making a stand for yourself in the God of War series. But with that said, I mean, you got to admit that he does really care passionately about what people think about him, and for me, I think that's kind of a crutch. But I'm saying this out of love, out of respect for what he's done in the past, and not I'm a fan of his, but I wish I could tell them straight up to his face that, look, man, you're the man, and don't worry about what people say about you.
I think that there is a portion of him that cares, but I do think there's another portion that's just kind of like, he just likes to stir it up a little bit. He likes to mix it up, get in there and scrap a little bit with some people,
Right.
Because he's a gamer. It's like he plays games, and I think for the most part, he buys a lot of his games as well. So it's a lot of us. Like I buy 97% of my games. Like occasionally, I know some people who work at a specific studio, so I'll
Right.
get a free copy of something. But mostly, I'll buy everything so that I'm sort of reminded what it feels like to spend $60 on a shitty game.
Right.
You know, like Spider-Man 3, perfect example. Like I went
Mhm.
out and I bought it, knowing full well that it probably wasn't going to be so good, and I played through probably about 70% of it, and it was like it gets you jazzed, it gets you fueled to go,
Mhm.
wow, I spent $60 on this. I don't want someone else to feel ripped off.
Right.
You know, I want to make sure that I'm putting everything I can into these other things, these other games that I'm working on, and you know, those guys worked hard on that team. I know a couple of guys over on that team. They worked hard. It's just, you know, the way that certain things are managed, and
Right.
you can't really control the upper management of saying, we're pushing this thing out the door regardless. I mean, you're trying to chase a release of a movie.
Yeah.
That's freaking hard, man.
That is.
I don't want to be in that position with something that I hope that is going to be this, you know, epic, crazy, big thing.
And neither do I. I mean, I love the fact that we haven't had to worry about a Metal Gear movie
Right.
up until now.
Right.
And
Because Uvi's never been free.
right.
So, you know, it's like, hey, remember how there was a big controversy over, like, is Uwe Boll going to do
Right.
the Metal Gear movie?
Oh,
It's like,
please.
it's so amazing to me that anyone would even believe that. It's like, is Stephen Baldwin going to play Hamlet? You know?
Well, it's funny because he does get some decent properties like Far Cry. I think he's doing right. I mean, you would think that you can actually get a decent director for that.
Yeah.
You know, and which is surprising. Postal, you know, they can keep him. You know, I mean, I
Right.
think that's probably the best director they can get. But then again, I don't want to give that guy too much talk time because
Right.
he's not worth it. But moving on, you know, just to kind of just reset and to remind people where we're recording this at. We're recording this in Hollywood at Sound Deluxe Studios. We got Justin on the boards. People who listen to the podcast frequently will know Justin, who was the engineer on the VOs for MGS4. We've got Chip Beeman in the booth over on the other side of the glass, business development.
Gang is
manager.
all here.
And he's been on the podcast a number of times, representing Sound Deluxe and good VOs.
Right.
So I thought this was a great opportunity to maybe talk about voiceovers because you have voiceover work in Chains of Olympus, or is this a secret?
No,
Okay.
I can talk about that. There's just specific things that I can't talk about.
Right.
And mostly because I'm not sure. I probably could talk about them, but I didn't check with anybody to make sure, like, hey, because we want to talk about specific things at certain times to make sure, like, we don't crowd, you know, hey, look, all this stuff. And people are like, yeah, but you didn't talk about this.
Right. But yeah, pace it out, right?
Yeah.
So you got VOs in Chains of Olympus. I mean, is it fully voiceover? Is there some parts that are only text or?
The text ratio is fairly similar to what it would be in the other games. You know, the big thing about the PSP game is we're not treating it like a PSP game.
Mm-hmm.
We're not treating it like a portable game where we're saying, okay, well, the cinematics will just be like these comic book style presentations or whatever. No, it's a full God of War game.
Mm-hmm.
There was no punches pulled in any of this stuff. So we're all the same people who were in the cast are kind of returning in the cast.
Mm-hmm.
We've got same people for the narrator. And then T.C. Carson, who's
He's
playing
Kratos, right?
Kratos, yeah. So we've definitely put every effort into this to make it not feel like it's a separate piece because it really is filling in the overall story.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
That's important. You know, it's a shame that you play PSP titles and it's just a quiet experience. It's a lot of text, a lot of reading,
right.
and I would like to see more studios like yours, you know, really approach the handheld market, you know, more seriously with VO.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't do that.
It's probably money, you know. I mean, the games sell for cheaper, right? You know, it's $39.99 or whatever, $34.99.
Yeah, it's probably harder to break even on the PSP titles. You know, it's with probably any handheld title because you're saying, oh yeah, you got to make it smaller. But we're hoping, you know, to kind of change that to people to feel like, wow, I'm getting a big experience. Same way I think that the GTA games changed it to me. Like Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories, like these were full games.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, not that I really thought it was awesome that they just threw them on the PS2 as well. Because then I was like, oh, wow, all right, well, it didn't feel as cool as exclusive, you know, as on the PSP. But it definitely felt like, wow, this is a big change. You know, it's not just a quick pick up and play games.
Well, I think it's
huge.
cool, though. I mean, when people play Chains of Olympus and when they play Portable Ops Plus, which we recorded here at Sound Deluxe, and we had some really cool performances. We're bringing back a lot of old school characters like MGS2 Raiden and Johnny Sasaki and a lot of fan favorites. And so when they play games like these and they move forward into 2008, it's going to be interesting to see if there is that call, that cry of outrage when a new PSP title comes out and it's not voiceovered. And so hopefully, that the general audience, like that the people who listen to this podcast, like the actual consumer who buys these games, that their voice can be heard when publishers decide just to do text, because it's ridiculous in this day and age, especially with the PSP that can actually support it. DS maybe not so much, because there's obviously that memory limitation, that capacity limitation.
Yeah, but for any game too, like Okami, it's a freaking great game, but a lot of it's text.
It is,
and it's like it's
that, easier. It's
for
the
the
Animal Crossing kind of
localization.
Nintendo style, beep, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
And that's so maybe for the Wii title. I don't know if because I think they announced it for Wii. Capcom did. And I don't know if they're going to be throwing any voiceovers in it, but that'd be cool if they did.
Yeah, that would. I think that would be good. It's just for a broad appeal to get the sort of a maximum audience. You get a lot of people playing your game, which is not a bad thing.
Right.
You're gonna need to kind of appeal to the people who don't want to sit there and read an hour's worth of text, like old school RPGs or something like that. Which I'm not totally against, because I've played a lot of games like that, and I loved text-based adventures and the old school LucasArts games.
There's a time and a place for those.
Yeah, but it's like we've sort of graduated into a new era, or in a race for the bottom, as Nolan has told us.
Right. That's really, really sad. That I didn't know we were in the race to the bottom. I hope Metal Gear's not a part of that. Or
I know. And it's weird. I was really stoked to meet that guy that night, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because maybe he was in a bad mood or something. But the whole concept of saying that as an industry, as a whole, games are all in this race for the bottom. I mean, I could see there are games out there that are fluff and filler and crap. But I mean, when you look at where gaming began, it's cool because you imagine it like, hey, these are the pioneers. And at the time, they were the people going out west, and they were discovering new things. But they weren't changing. They weren't making these games that had any sort of relevance to social change.
Right.
Fucking Mega Mania didn't do anything for the world.
Right.
Fucking Pac-Man, while it was a huge thing, didn't help change the world. It was just a fun sort of inspirational, this is new technology, this is how we can use it. Everyone's a lot more familiar with the technology, so now it's more of a creative outlet in creating these new things. So there are a lot of fluff crap games, but I don't think that we're swirling above the drain or anything like that. It's not as bad as he makes it sound.
Maybe he hasn't been playing these. He's probably just been watching, the 24-hour news channels and got his feed from there. Because if he was playing games like BioShock, for example, or like Portal, I think he would. How would he come up with these kind of comments? But it'd be great to hear more about why, if he has any specific examples.
Right.
Maybe.
I can't imagine like Shadow of the Colossus or or Beyond Good and Evil or any of these freaking Future Wars. Although that's old school Amiga. So, but seriously, there's too many games out there, too much really quality media to say that all of it's crap.
It's gonna be cool. We're putting everything into it. We've got a team of. Well, there's been this widely exaggerated number that we have 200 people working on this game. 7 days a week, which is insane, because it is incorrect, because we have 198 people actually.
Right, working 6 3/4 days a week.
Exactly. So it's not that big of a project. Yes, but I mean, seriously, it's people who live and breathe, MGS4 for 3 years, and we haven't had this buildup has just happened recently when we've added a bunch of people towards the end of the project. But that's something I'm always thinking about, is getting some of these people in the limelight too, because I mean, as much as I love to take credit, for everything that we do, and is that we do have an amazing team, and how many people do you have? Can you say how many people you have working on God of War 2? Or
I think in God of War 2 we had about 85, somewhere between
that's a large
70
team.
and 85. Yeah, it was big, and those guys, they're really like you're saying, they're the superstars. They're the guys who actually do it. There's always just somebody who has to go out there and sort of pitch the game to people and get them all jazzed about it. But these guys are the ones, they're putting in the hours. They're putting in the crazy time. It was a very difficult game to get out, to give birth to. The first one and the second one, very, very difficult. And a lot of those guys everyone's very proud of what they've done, and everyone's worked really hard. But it's definitely, it takes their toll on people.
Yeah.
It's
well,
really
we've
hard.
noticed, the high level quality of games that you guys put out. Hideo's brought it up in numerous interviews that God of War is one of the few Western games that he really looks towards, and American made games it shows that the quality level is really there, and and he's definitely a fan. So
Oh, that's awesome.
it's cool stuff. And, one other thing on my list of things I want to talk about before, unless you want to address anything, we can wrap it up. But this has become kind of a topic of conversation the past few weeks about how we make games and the process of making a game. There was a little bit of controversy because we don't have, unlike you guys, you just sent out a demo for Chains of Olympus on UMD that you can actually play the game and get a sample of it before it comes out. In 2008, right? Or is it coming out in December? Oh, yeah,
2008. Yeah.
Okay, 2008. So, but it gives people a taste, right? Well, we have a demo that we showed at E4All, and it was a trial version, and it's not finished yet. And people have been kind of some people take that as, well, look, the game is really far off. If you can't even put a demo out, then obviously the full version is really far off.
Right.
But actually, that's not how I don't know how. And I want to know how you guys, the whole process of making games, because for us, it's like basically making a foundation for for building. I think that's Western development. It's a foundation for building. You get that foundation, you can move around in your environment, and you start putting things into it, and you build vertically. But as far as my experience working with the Metal Gear team is that we have a million puzzle pieces, and we put it all together at the very end. And there's a million bugs that come out of doing that, but it's the way that we always do it. And so there are parts throughout MGS4 that are very static, like the AI just kind of sits there. It hasn't become a game just yet. Whereas, and it's obvious with your title that you can actually play through a good portion of the game, which is included in the demo. And then are you guys moving from there, like you finish stage 3, 4, 5, and then you move on to 6, 7, and 8? Because for MGS4, I mean, it's all going to come together at the end because all stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're all just they're about 80% done at this point. There's nothing's really in a playable state other than what we showed at E4All.
Well, there's a beginnings of like the creation of the mechanics and solidifying the feel. Mm-hmm. For 2, it was a lot easier because we sort of solidified the feel with 1. But to be quite frank, none of us ever want to do a demo. Mm-hmm. Demos are inconvenient, and they take you out of the sort of plan.
Right.
Games are these crazy things that you have to make plans for on day 1 for 2 years. 2 years down the road, you're anticipating you're going to hit this date, which means you're building back from that point. And, we try to schedule demos in, or I try to get out of doing the demos all the time, of saying, you know what, well, we can make that date, but we can't do the demo.
Right.
Which, in the end, you always end up having to do the demo, which is cool. It gives people a chance to play it, but at the same time, it's you are essentially taking one tiny portion of the game and taking it to 100%,
right.
Which truly, the rest of the game isn't anywhere near that.
Okay, so you're similar to how we produce games.
Very similar to what you guys are. We just build the foundation of the mechanics and the character and then all the enemies, but nothing is ever... Like, we couldn't just throw 5 guys in a room and then throw Kratos in there and say, all right, cool, it's going to be a great fight, because those 5 guys are taken to 60%.
Right.
They look decent, all their moves are there, but nothing's been tuned on them.
Right,
It's very, very rudimentary. So changing tracks and doing a demo and taking it to for E3, like that was my biggest pet peeve about E3. Well, there was many pet peeves about E3, but I hated the concept of, people kind of know about the game. Right. I guess for the last time, we needed to prove it, because people are like, who is this noob?
Right.
Is he going to screw it up? Why isn't Dave Jaffe doing it?
Right. Well, now that you guys have proved yourselves right, what's the need of doing a demo?
Right. But it seems like we're always doing something different at PSP. People are like, well, is it going to be good on the PSP? Is it going to be big? Is it going to be epic? So we always have something to prove, I guess.
And, our team wasn't excited about doing a demo either, because, like you said, it's taking a part of the game and making it to near 100%. In our case, we feel like it's there about 80 or 90% there. And so we're not really satisfied with it just yet. But it's an interesting phenomenon for gamers who are very vocal about it, because I think it's like, it should be really easy. You're just taking a chunk out of a book that you're writing, right? You just take one chapter, right, and you put online as a sample. It's very different.
You really don't need to do a demo, because everybody in the freaking world knows this game's going to be awesome.
We feel like we have to prove ourselves. We really do.
Which is good. That's always a great place as a creator, and as a creative person. You should never be content. I'm never content. I'm always doubting that anything I ever do is at all good. But from a marketing standpoint, it's not like there's 14 people on this planet who are like metal what? Metal Gear? What? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. But then, everybody else, they freaking know about it. It's like Halo, whereas freaking selling Halo at 7-Eleven.
Right.
7-Eleven.
I know.
What is that? That's crazy.
Well, we'll
It's a
see if we can get Old
convenience
Snake at AM PM or something.
Right. Get some Burger King Happy Meals associated with the snake and the
Right.
rating. That would be awesome.
Unless you have anything that you wanted to bring up, I thought this is a good place to wrap up the show. And
No, I think that's good.
I appreciate you coming on because it was a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
you know your stuff, and we've been talking about doing this podcast for many moons.
Yes. I'm glad it came to fruition. It was good times.